Okay, a lot of people on beta are wondering whether it's better to dual wield or use a two-hander. So I figured I'd just show you the difference. Got full hit combo up, so we'll show Fist of Fury damage. So it's ticking for a little over 1300 there with the two-hander. And the enchants, this one has a proc of 5% agility, and then the two one-handers, one has that same proc, and the other one procs for 6% damage to your target. So I'll swap those real quick, and then show you the damage on fists once we get hit combo built up again for consistency. Okay, so Fist of Fury, about 1240 to 1248, right? So you do get a little bit of a boost in your hits, but you lose out on the extra enchant, the extra sharpening stone or oil, whichever you use, and you also lose a lot of white damage because you're not attacking as fast with a two-hander. So bottom line for me, it's kind of a no-brainer. Like, dual wielding is still just better, but you know, we'll see. But that's, yeah, that's what I think about it. So I figured I'd throw that in and show you guys. Yeah, one other thing about the dual wield versus two-hand subject, I also should mention that they didn't add any sort of a passive like they used to have for that, to where if you use one or the other, you're going to gain a certain benefit. So you can see that here. Also in the baseline tree, there's nothing here that augments using one weapon type over the other. Same if you look at weapon skills, like it doesn't list any sort of a bonus for either one, like say it does for your armor skills, you know, getting 5% when you're wearing leather. So they didn't add that back in, so that even kind of further, you know, enhances the fact that you should probably dual wield, but we'll see if that changes. You know, you never know what's going to happen with Blizzard. So over here we have AoE dummies. You can see they're all clumped together. And the new functionality, or I should say returning functionality from the past for spinning crane kick, is the more mobs you hit, I'll show you the tooltip, for each unique target, with Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, and Rising Sun Kick, it's going to put up the crane buff, and it'll add 10% damage for each unique target to your next spinning crane kick. So that's going to be big, especially for Mythic Plus. So pretty self-explanatory, but yeah, see, like you can see the buff going on, all these, and then it just raises your spinning crane kick damage by quite a bit. And then you can further augment that with Dance of Chi-Ji. So if you wait for that to proc before you know, use that spinning crane kick, it's going to hit, you know, it's going to have 200% multiplier on it. And then you can also use Calculated Strikes, which takes the baseline 10% for each target to 20. And that you can see the white portion there, it's going to scale as you move through your covenant and gain renown and stuff. So yeah, you can see the big AoE potential there. So pretty good. The only thing that's really different AoE wise is they did add, and this is across the board for all players, but they did add an AoE target cap of 6, and that will reflect on your tooltips no matter what you're playing, if it's an AoE spell. So just keep that in mind, you know, when you're putting up the debuffs. So yeah, spinning crane kick and its new functionality. I'll just show if you fort brew, gaining 15% of your max HP, and then use your Phial, how much that'll heal for. Also taking into account um, Phial of Patience, which brings it up to 55% as a hot. All right, so yeah, let's use that there. You can see how powerful it is, you know, 31 to 3700 per tick. So really good. And it also, you know, removes all those negative dots except for magic, I think is the only one it doesn't do. But this is Wynn's base damage, the Crackling. And then the empowered, what they did is they built Gale Force, or Gale Burst, into Zwen. So he lasts for 24 seconds, and every 8 seconds, I think it is, there's a Gale Burst window, like that used to be on Touch of Death. So the more damage you do in those windows, the more damage he's gonna do from Gale Burst. So yeah, if you're doing good damage during your Gale Burst windows, then this is probably gonna be your top DPS, you know, unless it's a really long fight, in which case, you know, you won't have as much uptime on Zwen. So just pre-expel like you would on, say, a boss pull or something, just to get an extra chi, and then we'll go in with it. So Tiger Palm, Chi Wave, Tiger Palm, top your cooldowns, weapons, re-rising, and then fists. Alright, and spirits are done, so I looked around 7k or something when spirits ended. If you add all those up, roughly, right? So that kind of gives you an idea of doing it with that rotation. And Tiger Palm the first one, Chi Wave, switch Tiger Palm the second one while I'm popping cooldowns, which would be Storm Earth and Fire and Zwen. And then Rising Sun Kick, weapons, Rising Sun Kick, Fist of the White Tiger into Fist of Fury and Whirling Dragon Punch. And I should have the chi and the time left on spirits to be able to spinning crane kick at the end. So check that out. Yeah, so we got that at the end, and you can see the burst was quite a bit higher. Pre-expel, Tiger Palm, spirits, Fist of the White Tiger, Rising Sun Kick, weapons, Rising Sun Kick, Tiger Palm, Fist of Fury, Whirling Dragon Punch. Yeah, and fit in that last spinning crane kick. So you can see the burst with that rotation was probably the best. It was around 8k or so, as opposed to the usual 7. So that's, if you're running Fist of the White Tiger, that's what I'm liking right now, is that rotation right there. Just keep in mind that early on in the expansion, you know, the scaling, or not the scaling, but your stats are just going to be really low you know, so you're going to lose on that 10% energy regen, which is pretty big. Like you definitely feel it while you're going through your rotation. Like during your burst window, initially it doesn't feel bad, but after that it really starts feeling bad, you know, because you have that downtime on Fist of the White Tiger, and you know you're kind of getting a little downtime in between, so you have to fit in some chi waves to keep your mastery up and just deal with, you know, that energy feeling very sluggish. But you know, is what it is, and I'm sure we'll be getting haste buffs from teammates and stuff like that that'll help out in Mythic Plus and whatnot. But yeah, that kind of gives you an idea of the rotations and how differently you can augment them depending on the situation, with Kyrian, at least, which is what I'm going to be going with. I decided Venthyr's Fallen Order cooldown is really bursty, but it's an extra minute on the cooldown, so you know, a lot less windows of opportunity. So yeah, we'll just go through our rotation the same way we did, except throwing in um, Crackling Jade. And our spirits are done. So yeah, so when we use Tiger Palm, it's going to dash us here within 10 yards. The internal cooldown is going to look like a skull and crossbones, and the it's actually called recently rushing Tiger Palm. So that's what you'll want to track there. And then the 6% or the 25% crit for 6 seconds. Um, Keefer Skyreach, which is the name of the legendary. So that one's easy. So you're definitely going to want to track those. All right, so we got up our buff. Make sure we hit both targets so they have the crane. And Fist of Fury's coming back up. So you can see that was a lot of burst. Um, yeah, crit for 21.5. So that's, you know, just about one-shotting somebody on its own. Um, you know, obviously the damage will be a little bit reduced in PvP, so, you know, but you factor in the rest of your damage and and your partner's damage, it's kind of a one shot. So, and you know, if I was more diligent, I was just trying to show it there, but if I was more diligent about getting it into Zwin's Gale Burst window, like you can imagine how much he would be hitting for with his empowered Tiger Lightning as well. So pretty crazy potential. Definitely something that you're gonna want to track with a weak aura or something. But yeah, really good. Um, like I said, just make sure that you're putting the crane buff on anything that you can that's in range, so that it's buffed up by that damage. And then you could even, you know, buff it further by using oh, what's it called? calculated strikes, you know? So basically each target that you hit is going to add 10% damage to it, and then if you use calculated strikes on, it's going to add 10% more per target. So, you know, and I don't really like lining that up with Dance of Chi is pretty tough, you know, because you're not like, this has a 12-second timer on it, whereas you have like 45 on the Chi explosion. So, you know, lining both of those up, plus making sure you have crane buff on, you know, all the targets, or the debuff on all the targets, plus having cooldowns to augment it, like, that's a pretty rough. I mean, you could do it for sure, but yeah, it just wouldn't be nearly as reliable. But if the stars align and you make that happen, that's a hell of a lot of burst. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that, and check you in the next one. Thanks for watching.